Welcome to another Lunch and Learn session sponsored by ATSU University Information Technology and Services Group. We're glad that you're with us for this broadcast from either Google Plus or YouTube. For those who have been with us before, you know that we conduct these sessions using video technology from Google Hangouts. And we've chosen to use Google Hangouts for the broadcast because it incorporates both social networking and collaboration tools, and also because it's available to everyone at ATSU. So we know that when it comes to communicating with these newer online tools, most of us, many of us at least, are just too busy with the routine day-to-day stuff to find time to play with this new technology. So we're kind of trying to kill two birds with one stone. We hope you'll find not only the topics and information presented here are helpful to you, but also we hope that you'll get comfortable with this form of online interaction. We want to use these Lunch and Learn sessions as an opportunity to experiment with finding better ways of communicating and collaborating with online tools. So we ourselves are continuing to experiment and tweak various aspects of the Lunch and Learns, try and figure out how to build better virtual community, share more ideas online, and evolve our geographically separated campuses into a truly combined learning organization. So if you're participating for the first time, just sit back and relax. You can either sit back at your computer, sit back at your mobile device. If you're using one to watch this, that'd be great. But you really don't have to do anything other than just watch the broadcast. Using Hangouts can be fairly effortless, and hopefully you'll learn something from today's topic. But if you've been here before, or if you are more adventurous, then what we really want is we want you to experiment with us by participating in the session. And participation is easy. You can add your comments to what we refer to as the chat room. The chat room is simply the comment area for this event on Google+. Go ahead and just type in your own version of Hello World or I'm here into the chat. Don't worry, you won't break anything, and we're all relatively new at this type of online interaction. So think of it as a chance to play as well as to learn. We really encourage you to interact with others throughout the session, ask questions, share your opinion, post your thoughts, and engage in some healthy and hopefully fun online discussion about the topic. Or as I always say, even throw virtual tomatoes. And you can do that by using those comment tools on Google Plus event area. So we have people that are monitoring those areas or that area, and we'll try and work your questions and ideas into the session. Today we are fortunate to have with us members of the communications and marketing team who are going to give us a little bit of a brief introduction into what we're calling the Brand Identity Toolkit. And I'll let them explain more about what that is. But basically, my understanding is this is kind of the first of a series of phases for the Brand Identity Toolkit. And we'll see lots of additional features and functions rolling out over the next few months. So it's really the first chance for us to kind of get a look at it, and we appreciate them being with us. To my left would be Gail Doss.
Hello.
Hi, Gail. Thanks. And then to Gail's left is Katie Thudian. Hi, Katie. And then on the far left is Virginia Halterman. I think Virginia's basically going to be here more for the Q&A part, so she's just going to kind of be quiet for the first part of the session. And then to my right is Jean Varnold, and Jean is kind of our producer in the background, making sure that the screens are working properly and that things are going well. So thanks, Jean, for doing that. So we're going to turn it over to Gail and let her start. And Gail, if you would, just kind of tell us a little bit about the Brand Identity Toolkit, what's the purpose of it, and give us a little background.
Okay, well, thank you, Brian. I just would like to give a little bit of an introduction in regards to what came about to developing the toolkit. And the toolkit was basically developed for the growing needs that we know and we hear from our clients of the university. So basically how we started to develop the toolkit was we did an internal audit of all the requests that came into communication and marketing. And we based on many of the things that I'll just touch on in the toolkit, but basically we took those top 10 things that we were getting consistently requested of and built them into the toolkit. And I'm sure many of you probably question, how will the toolkit benefit you? And as Brian has touched on, we're going to be developing this in many phases. So this current phase, we tried to hit quite a few items. That doesn't mean everything's going to be there at first, but it's going to be growing and changing. So, please check back with us again and again and again, because we will be constantly updating the toolkit. So what I would like to do is to show you, if you haven't gone out and looked at the toolkit yet.
You going to do a screen share here, Gail?
I'm going to do a screen share.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. And then maybe give them the URL too, so that they just kind of reinforce where it's at.
The URL and the long way to get there is they can basically go to the portal, and at the menu at the top there's departments, and go to communication and marketing, and then when you go to communication marketing there's the toolkit. Also the URL is the www.atsu.edu/communications/branding_toolkit/index.html.
Maybe we can give you a little hand shortening and getting a short code for that too, so we'll work on that a little bit.
But basically you should be able to see, this is the brand identity toolkit. On the left side are many menu items. We're just going to touch on a few, because really there'll be things in here we may not cover today, but that's why we encourage everybody to go in and explore. I'm going to hit on a few things, and I'm going to have Katie jump into. But one of the first things I wanted to cover was the ATSU brand identity and guidelines. In here is basically providing guidelines on how to display ATSU logos or word marks. There's just a variety of things in here. What is the authorized logo and acceptable uses? So this is basically the area you would need to come to explore those guidelines. The visual identity in here are basically, a lot of people don't understand that there are many elements that provide visual messaging for us in the university, and those are things like colors and fonts and stationery. Because stationery is a communication tool. Many people don't think of it that way, but it very much is. So there's just a variety of things in here. I'm just scrolling through it quickly, of examples that would be in here to give that information to you. And then I'm going to hand it over to Katie. She'll talk about the writing section.
Okay, well, I will discuss the writing and style guide sections of the toolkit. Writing in the communication marketing department really covers a wide range of projects, anything from flyers and brochures to e-blasts and newsletters. We can help you with preparing and editing your content. And to help you write your communication, the writing section of the toolkit provides an overview of using standard messaging and a variety of boilerplates that you may need. So if you need a paragraph about ATSU, its college and schools, locations, the mission statement, and notices, things like notices of discrimination, that sort of thing, you can use the paragraphs provided directly from the toolkit by copy and pasting. Of course, we can help you with more than just boilerplates, but these are the standard paragraphs available for you to use. So if you need more, or if you have questions, you're of course welcome to contact us and we can help you. Moving on to the style guide section, specifically in writing, ATSU uses a style guide that is specific to our university, and this guide is available here and is the standard for all communication, whether it's internal and external, print or online. And our style guide is based off the AP, which is the Associated Press style book, so it looks like the kind of content that you would read in the news, whether on a news website or in the newspaper. And we have specific guidelines for ATSU, so if a rule isn't included in our style guide, you should then reference the AP style book, which we have available in our office. And clearly here, I'm not going to read through the entire style guide, but we do want you to be aware that we have specific ways to reference things. Things like time and date formats, how we reference Dr. Still, how we reference the university, students, alumni, departments, programs, phone numbers, everything. So if example, we no longer use periods in academic degrees, so that applies to things like the DO, MS, MPH, all of those. But the style guide is located here to be more accessible to you, but if you still have questions about anything related to this or how to reference something, please don't hesitate to call or email it's not a nuisance to us because we're really here to help you.
Thank you, Katie. The next thing I was going to hit on is the brand tools. And the brand tools, this is really the thing I mentioned in the introduction about our internal audit with the request. This is where this got narrowed down on offering templates, PDF templates, brochures and posters, flyers, e-blast headers, etc. Right now they're in PDF form, and you can choose from different designs, and then C&M is happy to help you finalize those designs. This is also where you can download all the logos for ATSU, for all the schools, all that stuff, which I know we get a variety of those questions, so this is exactly where you would come. Just to give you an example, you just click on the arrow. It shows you a high-res version you can download, a low-res version you can download. The low-res would be for web, e-communications. Your high-res would be more for possibly presentations and printing purposes. Then there is a contact us. We tell, since we're on both campuses, basically how to reach both of our campuses, and then all of us that are on staff in communication and marketing. So if anybody has any particular questions, they would know maybe who to ask for. And then the other thing I want to point out is that the brand identity toolkit is searchable. So up here at the top under the header, you can type in instead. So you don't maybe want to dig around in these different menu items. Then you can just type in at the top and search. And that may come in handy, especially with the style guide, because as Katie mentioned, it's very long, and you may just have a specific question in that regard. So basically, as I've mentioned already, that we really want everybody to keep checking. We're going to be updating it constantly. So check back often, and then we do encourage people to provide us feedback, because this toolkit is for you. It may have been created by communication marketing, but really is for everybody at the university. So please provide us feedback, because there may be something we don't realize that you may need that will make your job easier.
Yeah, I mean, I think of it as kind of a little cheat sheet for me. You know, there are lots of times when I would like to have some canned language that we use for different things. If I can go in and cut and paste it into something, that'd be great. Do you guys, how do you really see the majority of people interacting with it?
That I don't know if I can answer that accurately, just based on maybe some conversations that we had, and plus we did some beta testing before this came out. People just kind of go in and explore and kind of see what's available, or it's also a point that if they don't, they have a question, they may not know where to go in the toolkit, then they can contact us and say, hey, did you check out this page? Yep. On there. So it really it's hard to answer any specific way one person may use it, because everybody has different demands on their jobs.
I know the question that I asked you, I think when we were rehearsing or something, was for PowerPoint, and I see there's a question that's come in over the chat that was about, is there a PowerPoint slide format for use at national conferences for when we present research? That's coming from Jim Ferris from ASHES.
And that's actually something we're in development right now. It's not currently in there, but we know that is something that a lot of people need, so it will be in there soon.
So one of the new additional features and functions that will be added to it.
Yes.
Yeah, and even without, I guess you still have the color palette, so that reduces your selections a little bit and kind of gives you some guidelines to go with.
Absolutely, and we're still here available to help on anything that has to be customized.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts or questions that you guys have from communications and marketing, or questions that are coming in from the chat? Jean, do you see anything else? I'm struggling a little bit to get to the moderator session, so I can't see those as quickly as I'd like to.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in. We have a, does MC provide the preferred font styles? And that's the first question. And then the second one is from Jackie Forsyth with Communications and Marketing, and she said, based on the audit, I think most will use it for immediate design templates, which can be instant printed or photocopied, but remain design compliant with the ATSU brand.
Sure. So I guess the question, the first part of that question was font styles. And did I remember correctly, Gail, there are some guidelines for fonts?
Mm-hmm. We had it under the, let's see, the visual identity. There is a preferred choice and then an alternative choice.
Go ahead and go back and screen share that just so people can get a visual for where it's at. We'll get people in the habit of going there.
It's under the visual identity.
There you go.
It is. And then another feature, you can just go straight to it here along the top. So just click on typography and it takes you directly there. Then there's, as I said, there's the preferred choice and then the alternative choice fonts.
Good, good. All right, anything else coming your direction, Gene? Oh, sorry, you're muted.
I just posted one for you.
Okay, yep. So then, well, you probably all can read it here. I understand there will be templates for brochures. So I don't know that communications and marketing was quite ready to talk about the new printing and Print Shop Pro, is that what we're calling it? Rollout, but they're working on some things, and one of the features and functions will be the ability for users, us, ATSU employees, to go in and actually submit things for like business cards and that type of thing. Brochures, I think, is what Helen's asking about. You want to talk to that a little bit as best you can, Gail? I don't want to put you on the spot, but...
Oh, that's okay.
I'm going to anyway, so...
Yeah, that's right. The templates that are currently in the toolkit are there for more or less to shop, I guess you could say. But basically, we can turn those around very quickly, because if the information you provide us and the photos that you need in those brochures, you can give those to us and we would provide you a proof. Then once you approve it, then printing can happen fairly quickly. So probably a turnaround time of, I'm thinking, a week or two. So probably even potentially a week.
Good. Good. And I'm sure that as you get through the cycle a few times and get a little bit more experience with it, things will smooth out, and you'll be able to give people really good estimates on it, what the turnaround time is going to be.
Absolutely. And we are working on templates that'll be more do-it-yourself, that will be part of the toolkit too. So that will be even faster turnaround time for people because they can do it themselves.
Question about the fonts. So in the guidelines for fonts, the question is, are those the fonts that are being suggested for correspondence?
Yes, and that's why we have fonts that are more your traditional style. It's actually a serif font, and then we have a sans serif. And not everybody's going to have the preferred choice font, so that's why there's the alternative choice. And I believe most everybody has the alternative choices, which is Times New Roman and Arial. And those would be fine for any kind of correspondence.
Good. A question or a comment, more than a question, about using the favorites in the portal. And if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and demo that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and screen share for myself, and we'll see how well I can do this. Go ahead and pop my screen up there if you would, Gene. And then I'm going to go to the portal. And so one of the suggestions is to create a favorite for the brand identity toolkit. And It's a feature that's on the portal that's really not very well utilized for a lot of people. If you come in here to, I believe it's under Gadgets, and click Favorites, you can see that you can just grab this Favorites icon and put it in here. And then from this place, from this area under Favorites, you've got under Column 1, you can add whatever kind of favorites you want. So if I wanted to add a favorite here, I'm going to go back to where the Brand Identity Toolkit was. I'm going to copy and then paste that into the URL. And I'll go Brand Identity Toolkit. And I'm going to go Save. And now all of a sudden I can just one click and get there. So that's a nice little way to do it. It's really no different doing it in the portal than if you were to use your browser bookmarks and do it the same way. So I'm not sure which direction the comment was coming in from, but it's a good suggestion either way. All right, what else is going on out there, Gene? You see anything else? Still struggling to multitask enough to see them all.
All right, from Hal Bright in Mesa, are the preferred fonts native to Office and other common computer programs? How do we make these our defaults?
Jean, I think you broke up a little bit on when you were telling the question.
Okay, let's try it again. This is from Hal Bright in Mesa. Are the preferred fonts native to Office and other common computer programs? And how do we make these our defaults?
I'm not sure if they're going to be native. Gaudi Old Style, which is one of the preferred ones, should probably be native to maybe the Microsoft Office software. Myriad Pro may not be. And then setting it as a default, I'm probably going to defer to Brian because Brian might be able to advise in that regard.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is why don't we do a little bit of research on that, and then we can post it in the comments afterward so that it's at least captured there and let people know what the best way is to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Good question though, Hal. All right. Virginia, did you have anything more that you wanted to add to it? Or are you just there for moral support to, you know? Oh, you're still on mute.
Yes, of course, moral support, but also just to encourage people to really get in and use the tool. Look and see what's there. Let us know what your needs are. As Gail mentioned, we did that internal audit to service the needs of the clients, what we were seeing coming in as work orders. But we know that that's ever changing. And so it's really important that our constituents, our clients, reach back out to us and share information and let us know what their needs are. So that would be the piece of advice that I would leave with them today.
Good. And I'm just assuming an email is the best way to get that feedback to you guys?
Email is great through the communications@atsu.edu, but also I encourage people to pick up the phone. If, you know, that way we can give you a very quick response. I just like that one-on-one communication and would encourage people to do that.
Good, and from the little conversation we've had beforehand and otherwise, I think we'll bring you guys back in another month or a couple months and go through maybe some of the phase 2 or phase 3 adjustments that are being made too.
We have a lot of exciting things happening in communication and marketing, and we're really eager to share those as they roll out. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that's good. You know, it seems like we've really struggled for some time over where to do our branding, whether you do it at the university level or whether you do it at the program level, and it's nice to see some kind of groupthink starting to occur there and get all of this kind of corralled together. That's nice to see. Mm-hmm. It's encouraging. And I know I'm excited about the website too, which we don't want to talk about here necessarily, but some improvements that we'll see coming up to the website and integrating some of these same thoughts in the Identity Toolkit into the website as well. Good, Gene. If you don't see anything else there, then I think we're going to cut it quick. There's no sense of holding people hostage if there aren't a whole lot more questions. And the content's all out there for people to look at. So feel free. Go out there and look at the Brand Identity Toolkit and give your feedback back to communications and marketing. Communication and marketing, sorry. All right. Before we wrap it up, then I'll put in one little plug for the next session that we're going to do. The plan for the next session is to talk a little bit about mobile. And we tried to get this one scheduled, I think, back in November. And one of our guests kind of fell through at that point. But I think we've got some good guests that we'll bring in for that. Talk a little bit about mobile and what's going on in the mobile world for education as an industry, and then talk a little bit about what we're doing with mobile for ATSU as well. So I think that'll be a good session that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Good. Nothing else. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.